This is very important from the perspective like why, because at present people are still not aware that such penalty can be implied, and at present penalty is not levied, but in future there are chances that if you do not comply to this, तो GST number अगर board पे नहीं रहेगा, तो then there are full chances that when the department will come to your office for any sort of audit, this point might come up. Then what is this? The GST certificate. They expect the GST certificate also has to be displayed at the prominent places, at all your places of business. तो आपका अगर 2 ऑफिस रहता है, 2 ऑफिस एक फैक्ट्री रहता है, तो this GST certificate has to be displayed prominently at the entrance or at a place where जहाँ पे सबको दिखाई दे. So whosoever comes to your office to meet you, your customer, your clients, they should know that yes, you are registered under the GST and this is your certificate. It should be framed and put it on the wall of your office, wherever it is displayed prominently, generally at the reception area. Here also the penalty implication is up to ₹25,000. Now mind it well, there is no combination of penalty. Each and every flaw or each and every error will give you a separate penalty. So separate penalty, if that GST number is not there, they might levy say up to 25,000. तो चलो उसपे 5,000 levy किया by chance. So then if your GST certificate is also not there, then another 5. So for each penal flaw or each mistake के लिए आपका जो penalty है वो separate रहेगा. And higher limit is 25K in these 2 cases. This 25K is a general sort of a penalty जो कभी apply होता है कि whenever there is a general flaw or general error आपसे हो जाता है, तो for that this penalty is kept in the GST Act. You do not comply to any of the provisions of the Act for which there is no specific penalty given in the penalty section. This general penalty is levied up to 25,000. Then comes now the invoices. Now this is very important. This also, it has been observed that people do not comply to all the necessities which is necessary. जो invoice में रहना चाहिए, जो सब details invoice में आना चाहिए, many times the same is not being displayed. तो ये बहुत जरूरी है because हर एक mistake और you can say एक invoice में जो अगर आपका proper नहीं रहता है तो penalty implications are very huge. Now under GST, tax invoice is a very important document. Why it is a very important document? Because it evidences the supply of goods. आपने जो supply किया है उसका main evidence है. तो that is the reason tax invoice is very important, and it is also an essential document to avail the ITC by the recipient. आप जिसको जो आपके customer है और client है जो आपका supply का credit लेने वाले हैं, they cannot take the credit unless and until they do not have the copy of this tax invoice. Alright. Also, it is an important indicator of the time of supply. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि जब टैक्स इनवॉइस कौन सी तारीख को बना है, तो वो तारीख से लेके आपका टैक्स का कभी भरना है आपको, मतलब by what due date you are supposed to pay the tax. So for that purpose also this tax invoice is very important. It determines the date on which the supply happened, and on the basis of which you have to file the returns and you have to pay the taxes. Okay. So now tax invoice में क्या क्या जरूरी है? सबसे पहले suppliers details. Suppliers details में supplier का नाम मतलब आपका खुद का नाम, एड्रेस, GST नंबर, स्टेट नेम और कोड. स्टेट का कोड क्या है वो भी मेंशन करना है. यहाँ पे जैसे मेंशन किया है सप्लायर्स डिटेल्स, वो हिसाब से टैक्स इनवॉइस में सबसे पहला चीज वो आता है, योर ओन पर्सनल डिटेल्स. फिर रिसिपिएंट का डिटेल्स, द पर्सन हु इज गोइंग टू रिसीव द गुड्स, उनका डिटेल्स. दैट इज जिसको आप बिल कर रहे हो, ओके, जो आपको पैसा देने वाला है, कंसिडरेशन देने वाला है फॉर योर सप्लाई। तो उनके डिटेल्स में भी उनका एड्रेस एकदम प्रॉपर होना चाहिए, जीएसटी नंबर होना चाहिए, स्टेट नेम होना चाहिए, कोड होना चाहिए। अभी जहां तक जीएसटी नंबर रहता है कस्टमर का, कोई इश्यू नहीं है। फॉर एग्जांपल कस्टमर जो है वो अनरजिस्टर्ड है, मतलब जीएसटी नंबर नहीं है, फिर भी रिसिपिएंट का नाम, एड्रेस, वो कौन से स्टेट का है, स्टेट कोड, सभी कुछ मेंशन करना जरूरी है, खाली जीएसटी नंबर नहीं रहता है। So that thing will be blank. बाकी name, address, state code, everything needs to be mentioned, even if it is a URD customer. So don't just think कि अगर URD customer है तो मैंने सिर्फ नाम लिख दिया तो काफी है. No, that is not a proper invoice. Okay, I understand कि वो बंदे को ITC लेना नहीं है because it's a URD, but from your perspective, that invoice is not according to what is given in the rules. फिर इनवॉइस नंबर और डेट होना जरूरी है। इनवॉइस नंबर का सीरीज जो रहता है, इट शुड नॉट बी मोर देन 16 कैरेक्टर्स, अदरवाइज आपका इनवॉइस इनवैलिड हो जाएगा। और जो कैरेक्टर्स आप यूज कर सकते हो उसमें सिर्फ डैश और स्लैश, ये दो ही यूज कर सकते हो, मतलब हाइफन यूज कर सकते हो और स्लैश, ये दो ही कैरेक्टर्स आप इनवॉइस नंबर में यूज कर सकते हो, अदरवाइज अल्फाबेट्स और नंबर्स चलता है। बट इफ यू यूज से इन्वर्टेड कॉमास और एपोस्ट्रोफी, वो सब इनवॉइस नंबर में नहीं चलता है। और डेट भी आपको जो इनवॉइस का डेट रहता है वो मेंशन होना जरूरी है। फिर अगर आप ई इनवॉइस में कवर होते हो, इसके बारे में डिटेल में हम नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में बात करेंगे, यहाँ पे सिर्फ बेसिक क्या होना चाहिए वो ही दिखा रही हूँ। तो अगर ई इनवॉइस में कवर हो रहे हैं तो यहाँ पे IRN नंबर एंड IRN का डेट आना चाहिए जिस दिन आपने IRN किया। अभी आप देखोगे तो ये इनवॉइस का डेट है 20 दिसंबर 20 दिसंबर और IRN का डेट है 21 दिसंबर। तो ये IRN ई इनवॉइस जो है वो नेक्स्ट डे पे बना है, not on the same day of invoice, but it has been made on the next day. Then description of goods is required. और कौन सा टैक्स आप भर रहे हो, मतलब CGST, SGST या IGST, that is required. वो आपका ये कॉलम में आ जाएगा। फिर आप HSN, हेलो, hello, can you just mute yourself, sir? उसका डिस्क्रिप्शन होने के बाद आपको HSN is very important in your invoice. Now it is compulsory for all the dealers, all the taxpayers, whatsoever is the turnover. Only the matter is the difference in the digits, like minimum it is 4, 6 and 8, but HSN is compulsory. It is always advisable to use the 8-digit HSN code for goods and 6-digit HSN code for services. Whatever turnover criteria you fall, but it is advisable to use 8 digits for goods and 6 digits for the HSN services. Quantity you have to mention, whether it is in numbers, kgs, whatever, that is also important to mention in your invoice. You have to mention the rate, quantity, then the value, that is the total value, bifurcation of tax amount, what is the rate of tax, that is also equally important. What rate of tax is applied, 9% or 14% or 2.5%, etc. Because this CGST, then these are the other details. These other details are not compulsory as far as the GST law is concerned, but this is advisable so that there is always a reference for you. See, GST Act में क्या है कि they खाली invoice काफी नहीं है, there has to be the acceptance by the recipient of that invoice. So purchase order is very important. So यहाँ पे अगर आप buyer's order number भी लिख देते हो तो वो भी आपको track रहेगा. Okay. Then reference number, date, delivery note, आप अब यहाँ पे delivery note number, e-way bill number, what is your destination, Destination is equally important because that gives you the place of supply. कहाँ पे goods पहुंच रहे हैं. So this is not, place of supply is a compulsory thing by virtue of the GST Act. But बाकी का सब है, that is essential because it will be a favorable terms for your business. So this is the basic format of the invoice. और जब भी ई इनवॉइस रहता है तो ये क्यूआर कोड भी यहाँ पे आ जाता है, जो यहाँ पे ऊपर दिख रहा है. नाउ ये हो गया आपका मेन इनवॉइस, मतलब फॉर अ रेगुलर टैक्स पेयर के लिए ये इनवॉइस रहेगा. नाउ इन दिस इनवॉइस देयर आर वेरियस डिक्लेरेशंस टू बी गिवन बाय वेरियस टैक्स पेयर्स. ओके, सो व्हाट आर दोस डिक्लेरेशंस? अगर एक्सपोर्टर्स है या आप एसईजेड को सप्लाई कर रहे हो या तो एक्सपोर्टर्स को सप्लाई कर रहे हो, तो यू हैव टू डिक्लेयर अबाउट द सप्लाई, दैट व्हाट काइंड ऑफ सप्लाई इज दिस, whether it is with payment of tax or whether it is without payment of tax. So you have to write on the invoice that supply to SEZ with payment of IGST or supply to exporters without payment of IGST under LUT, having the LUT number. ये पूरा लिखना बहुत जरूरी है. Such kind of declarations is required to be written in the invoice. अगर आप ट्रांसपोर्टर है, okay, so if you are a transporter, then you have to आपको डिक्लेरेशन देना है कि आप ट्रांसपोर्टर में कौन सा क्या बोलते हैं टैक्स रेट एप्लीकेबल है, whether you are going on the forward charge, whether you are going under the reverse charge, or whether you are going with ITC, without ITC. So suppose if the transporter is opting for say 12% tax rate with ITC, तो आपको डिक्लेरेशन, फॉर्मेट डिक्लेरेशन का एक्ट में दिया हुआ है कि आपको क्या करना है, तो एग्जैक्टली सेम वर्डिंग्स डालना है, बट यू हैव टू मेंशन दैट यू हैव ऑप्टेड फॉर फॉरवर्ड चार्ज टैक्स एट द रेट ऑफ 12%. वैसा डिक्लेरेशन आपको इनवॉइस में देना है. फिर ई इनवॉइस है ना, बहुत सारे को एप्लीकेबल नहीं है, तो उनको भी डिक्लेरेशन देना है. दे आर क्रॉसिंग द टर्नओवर. सी एट प्रेजेंट एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर over and above 10 crores के ऊपर जाता है, तो देन ई इनवॉइसिंग इज एप्लीकेबल. तो उनको भी एक, और दे हैव मेड सम एक्सेप्शंस लाइक ट्रांसपोर्टर्स, बैंकिंग कंपनीज, पैसेंजर ट्रांसपोर्ट सर्विस, थिएटर्स. ये 4 जन को एक्सेप्शन है जिनको ई इनवॉइस नहीं बनाने हैं, तो उनको उनके इनवॉइस पे डिक्लेरेशन देना है कि दे आर लायबल फॉर ई इनवॉइसिंग बट दे आर एग्जेम्प्टेड. तो वो डिक्लेरेशन का फॉर्मेट भी एक्ट में है. Now why I am telling you all this thing is because अगर आप ये सारे प्रोविजंस नहीं कर रहे हो तो अगेन देयर इज अ पेनल्टी ऑफ अप टू 25,000. अगर आप इनवॉइसिंग में मिस्टेक कर रहे हो या कुछ भी है तो उसका अलग पेनल्टी है, बट whatever is there in the provisions के एक्ट के हिसाब के आपको ये इनवॉइस पे मेंशन होना चाहिए, तो वो बहुत जरूरी है कि ये सब मेंशन होना चाहिए. So again the penalty is up to the 25,000 rupees. Now we come to e-invoicing. Now this is very important because आजकल majority are falling under the e-invoicing और अभी 10 CR है, धीरे धीरे वो लोग 5 CR भी करने वाले हैं, which will probably come from 1st April 23. So अभी e-invoicing में कैसा है कि सबको लगता है कि खाली प्रीवियस ईयर का टर्नओवर देखना है, वैसा नहीं है. You have to see के right from 17-18 जब से GST आया तब से कोई भी एक साल में अगर आपका टर्नओवर 10 CR क्रॉस होता है तो आपको ई इनवॉइसिंग एप्लीकेबल हो जाता है. Why I am explaining this is because under the act अगर आप ई इनवॉइस इश्यू नहीं कर रहे हो, if you are liable कि आपको ई इनवॉइस इश्यू करना चाहिए और आप नहीं कर रहे हो, then it is as good as tax invoice not issue. और अगर टैक्स इनवॉइस इश्यू नहीं है तो पेनल्टी आपका either 10,000 या तो जितना टैक्स का अमाउंट है whichever is higher उतना हो जाता है. सो क्या होता है, फॉर एग्जांपल आपका 10 करोड़ क्रॉस हो चुका है से 18-19 में ऑलरेडी, और अभी आप सोच रहे हो कि आपको ई इनवॉइसिंग एप्लीकेबल नहीं है, एंड देन यू फील दैट यू स्किप ऑन preparing the e-invoicing. So this will, what will happen, what are the repercussions when you are not preparing e-invoice? That means you have not issued the invoice at all. So अगर आपने invoice नहीं issue किया है, इसका मतलब है आपने tax evade किया है. तो when you tax evade किया है, आपको penalty है 10,000 और the amount of the tax evasion. और फिर at the same time what will happen? तो अभी जब भी आपको पता चला, फॉर एग्जाम्पल अभी 1 अक्टूबर 22 से आया कि about 10 CR all the e-invoicing is compulsory, but till date you have not raised a single e-invoice, then also you have to raise now. आपको अभी raise करना है सारे e-invoice, okay, so that you are complying with the law. Otherwise what will happen के जो भी non issuance of tax invoice के जो penalties है, जो भी repercussions है, वो अभी आप that will fall into place. For example कि आपके जो recipient है, मतलब supplier है या तो customer है, they will not get the ITC, input tax credit, if you have not issued the e-invoice. ये सब क्या होगा कि ये repercussions अभी का अभी पता नहीं चलेगा, because at present there is no you can say क्या बोलते हैं formula, और हम लोग को अभी पता नहीं चल रहा है कि whether that person is covered by under e-invoice or not. अगर आप same day को जिस दिन tax invoice issue किया उस दिन कुछ technical default, because अभी तो internet is the in thing, without internet you cannot do anything. So for example एक दिन आपका इंटरनेट खराब हो गया, so you are not able to issue the e-invoice. So on that day you don't issue, you issue the next day, but you have to issue. और जो भी आपको एरर आया है ना, उसका सब स्क्रीनशॉट सेव करके रखिए. उस दिन इंटरनेट नहीं चल रहा था तो आपने इंटरनेट वाले को कंप्लेन किया था, तो वो सब डिटेल्स आप सेव करके रखिए, because this all thing will come in help during the assessment time, when you can prove कि भाई it was not your fault that you have not issued the e-invoice, but for technical default का वजह से नहीं. तो जो भी आपको technically default आ रहा है ना स्क्रीन पे, पोर्टल पे, हमेशा उसका ये स्क्रीनशॉट सेव करके रखिए, and immediately you raise a service request on the GST portal. There is a GST portal पे service request आपको raise कर देना है immediately, and that also you should keep it with you as a proof कि भाई ये दिक्कत आ रही थी. Whenever e-invoice बोले, e-way bill बोलो, कुछ भी हो जाए, if due to the technicalities you are not able to prepare it, then you have to raise a service request and at the same time save the screenshot of all the errors so that you are saved from the trouble to some extent. e-invoicing में कैसा है कि एक बार वो बोल रहा है कि मैं कदम रख चुका हूँ, खेल का रुख बदल चुका है और नेवला भी गेम में उतर चुका है सांप सीढ़ी के इसमें. So that means it is something which is never expected in India. Okay, one had never expected कि इंडिया में e-invoicing आ जाएगा. So this is sort of a something which has come as a surprise to everybody. And इतना techno savvy हो जाएगा India, that also was not expected. So that is the reason it is being saying that सांप सीढ़ी के खेल में नेवला उतर चुका है. That is what I am trying to portray here. E-invoicing में क्या है कि mistakes के लिए जगह नहीं है. Okay, so if you have issued a e-invoice, it cannot be rectified or amended. It has to be cancelled. And it can be cancelled only within 24 hours. So the moment the e-invoice is raised, please check it that whether it is raised properly or not. Because if you come to know after 24 hours that there is a mistake, you cannot do anything about it. That e-invoice will stay in the system of the e-invoice. Okay. Now, for example, आपने एक particular invoice number से invoice number 20 के लिए e-invoice raise हेलो, उस दिन कुछ भी technical default हो गया, आपका इंटरनेट चला गया, whatever, e-invoice के पोर्टल पे e-invoice raise हो गया, but आपके सिस्टम में वो नहीं दिख रहा था. You were not able to get the QR code on your invoice because of that. तो अभी कैसे पता चलेगा whether e-invoice has been raised or not raised? I'll tell you one thing, that if e-invoice is raised for one invoice number, for that same invoice number, second e-invoice cannot be raised. All right. And then you can go to the e-invoice portal and check on the basis of that invoice number that whether that e-invoice is raised or not. अगर हो गया है तो फिर वहां से आप invoice download करके आपका आगे का system you can do the needful. और अगर आपको लगे कि वो प्रॉपर नहीं है, you do not want the way, you please cancel it immediately and you raise a new invoice with a new invoice number. Mind it well, आपने अगर फॉर एग्जाम्पल अभी टैक्स इनवॉइस रेज किया, आपको बहुत घाई है, वो बोल रहा है रिसिपिएंट कि भाई आप मुझे गुड्स फटाफट भेजो. You raise the tax invoice today, you send the goods with that tax invoice. You are lucky कि आपको रास्ते में किसी ने पकड़ा नहीं, the goods reach the recipient. All right. Then next day you are raising the e-invoice. Now there is some mistake in the e-invoice. All right, you instead of the invoice number 20, by mistake you are writing 21 of that same supplier and everything. Okay, then there will be a discrepancy of what your tax invoice is raised, invoice number 20, and e-invoice is raised, invoice number 21. और जब भी आपको पता भी नहीं चला सपोज कि e-invoice 21 पे रेज हो गया, next day you are raising a tax invoice of 21 to some other supplier with a different invoice value and everything. तो क्या होगा आपका मतलब कि जो एक्चुअल सप्लायर जो जिसको 20 नंबर का है उसको ई इनवॉइस 21 का गया है और जिसको 21 का जाना चाहिए उसका ई इनवॉइस बनेगा ही नहीं. तो उसके लिए क्या होगा कि देयर विल बी नो इनवॉइस. देन ही विल नॉट बी एबल टू टेक द इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट बिकॉज टैक्स इनवॉइस जब भी ई इनवॉइस रहता है कंपल्सरी तो ई इनवॉइस बनाना ही है. अगर नहीं बनाते हो तो इट इज एज गुड एज नॉट. So this all are the issues which you need to look into. Your system of accounting should be so robust that such errors do not happen. At present, everybody needs to focus on the system of accounting. And moment that accounting system is proper, or if you can form a flawless accounting system, you can definitely get a seamless GST credit. Okay. Now e-invoice में कैसा है कि now further implications. Now this e-invoice gets validated and it is then reflected on the portal in the GSTR1. अभी GSTR1 तो आपको सबको पता है. That is a statement of your outward supply. तो वो automatic 3 दिन के बाद GSTR1 में reflect हो जाता है. Now यहाँ भी issue है. अगर आपने e-invoice proper नहीं किया तो आपका validation fail होगा और वो GSTR1 पोर्टल में रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं होगा. तो फिर क्या होगा कि आपका जो GSTR1 आपको फाइल करना है और ई इनवॉइस वो डेटा मैच नहीं होगा बिकॉज वो फॉर एग्जांपल आपने ई इनवॉइस 1 लाख का एक ई इनवॉइस बनाया है, उसमें कुछ वैलिडेशन फेल हुआ तो वो पोर्टल पे नहीं दिखेगा. ओके GSTR1 पे. पर जब भी आपको आउटवर्ड सप्लाई डालनी है GSTR1 की तो वो 1 लाख तो आपका सेल है. तो कैसे करना है? बिकॉज व्हेन यू विल रीसेट द पोर्टल में रीसेट का ऑप्शन है. तो अगर आप GSTR1 पूरा रीसेट करते हो ना तो आपका जो IRN नंबर है वो चला जाएगा. आपका जो ई इनवॉइस सोर्स जो पोर्टल पे लिखा रहता है ना वो चला जाएगा. सो that will create a problem in the future during the assessment. अभी तो कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं आता है. People are blindly resetting and GSTR1 बना देते हैं. But e-invoice advisory has been issued wherein they have categorically mentioned that if there is a mismatch between e-invoicing and GSTR1, then there are penalty implications. Notices will be issued, and if you are not able to reconcile, you are bound to pay more tax because they will count the supply as per e-invoice also, and they will count the supply as per GSTR1 also. So please be very discreet when you are issuing an e-invoice. Now, there what happens is that there is e-invoice how, where does the validation fail? One example I can give you is that suppose you are supplying to an SEZ without payment of tax, but by mistake आपने ई इनवॉइस में जो सप्लाई सिलेक्ट करना था वो विद पेमेंट ऑफ टैक्स सिलेक्ट कर दिया, एंड देन टैक्स रेट में आपने जीरो लिख दिया, टैक्स अमाउंट में जीरो लिख दिया, तो हियर द वैलिडेशन विल फेल, because when you select with payment of tax, it has to go with payment of tax and not without payment of tax. So then this particular e-invoice will not reflect on the portal because validation fail हो गया. तो ये सब छोटे छोटे जो मिस्टेक्स होते हैं, and this mistakes happen because of the accounting system, जो आपका बैकडोर पे अकाउंटिंग सिस्टम है उसमें अगर गलत गया तो आपका ई इनवॉइस भी गलत जाएगा, बिकॉज नाउअडेज सबने है ना ई इनवॉइस का सॉफ्टवेयर लेके रखा है एंड इट इज लिंक्ड टू योर अकाउंट्स, इश्यू द टैक्स इनवॉइस, उसके बेसिस पे पूरा आपका ई इनवॉइस भी जाता है, बट नाउ द रिपरकेशंस आर वेरी रैश, उसमें आपका it will be as good as invoice not issued, so please take care relating to that. Next is the e-way bill. Now e-way bill also is equally important just like the e-invoice. इसमें भी बहुत सारी mistakes होती है. Here also like the implications are very harsh. तो वो क्या implications है वो हम देखते हैं. E-way bill में भी क्या है कि if you are making a mistake, you cannot rectify or amend it. You can only cancel it. And that too, the person issuing the e-way bill can cancel only within 24 hours. तो अभी सपोज आपको 24 घंटे के बाद पता चलता है कि आपके e-way bill में मिस्टेक हो गया है, तो then you cannot cancel. But one option is there that the recipient can reject your e-way bill, and for that matter he has 72 hours to reject your e-way bill. So these two options are available. Otherwise, e-way bill once made, it cannot be rectified or not be amended. अभी now बहुत important चीज है कि e-way bill किसके लिए issue होता है. It is generally for the movement of the goods. So e-way bill has to be issued only when there is an actual movement of the goods. अगर आप किसी there is no movement of goods और किसी को खाली supply कर रहे हो तो then e-way bill does not have to be issued. But still such errors are happening. I will just give you with an example in the next slide. Also, for exempt goods, there is no e-way bill. But for all job work movements, there is a compulsion of e-way bill, irrespective of the value. Zero value रहेगा तो भी compulsory है. And I will advise that even if they have given that there is no e-way bill, above below 50,000, suppose your invoice value is below 50,000, तो e-way bill नहीं बनाना है as per law, but it is advisable to make e-way bill for all the supplies. Why? Because there are notices for mismatch in the e-way bill and your GSTR1 outward supply. उसमें भी mismatch रहता है. See, because you will not be issuing e-way bill for supplies less than 50,000. Right, so movement you will not issue, तो e-way bill में जितना भी आपने e-way bill रेस किया है वो कम रहेगा और आपका आउटवर्ड सप्लाई ज्यादा रहेगा, तो उसके लिए भी आपको नोटिस आती है. So it is always advisable कि आप हर एक सप्लाई के लिए e-way bill रेस करें. Now ये एक एग्जांपल मैंने दिया है कि one e-way bill for single movement of goods, that is what I said. Now Shahrukh in Mumbai ordered cosmetics of value say 15 lakhs का उसने from Priyanka in Gujarat. Now Priyanka is staying in Gujarat. Now Shahrukh ordered from Priyanka कि मुझे 15 लाख के cosmetics चाहिए. Okay, प्रियंका ने क्या किया, उसने दीपिका को ऑर्डर किया कि वो बैंगलोर में बेस्ड है कि उनको 15 लाख के कॉस्मेटिक्स चाहिए. ऑलराइट, और डिलीवरी शाहरुख को करनी है, बराबर. और प्रियंका और दीपिका के बीच में 15 लाख नहीं रहेगा, उसमें शायद 16 लाख हो जाएगा. ऑलराइट, नाउ दीपिका फर्दर क्या करती है, गौरी है जो मैन्युफैक्चरर है जो दिल्ली में बेस्ड है. ओके, तो वो दीपिका गौरी को ऑर्डर करती है कि भाई शाहरुख को 15 कॉस्मेटिक्स चाहिए of this quantity. So now here what happens, how many transactions are there? From Gauri to Deepika, from Deepika to Priyanka, from Priyanka to Shahrukh. All right. Now what will happen after the cosmetics are manufactured? What will Gauri do? Gauri will say bill to Deepika, और जो कंसाइनी मतलब कहाँ पे जाएगा? The goods will go to Mumbai directly. तो क्या करना है, इसमें सिर्फ एक ही वे बिल बनेगा और वो गौरी बनाएगी या तो शाहरुख बनाएगा, व्हाटएवर हु इज द फाइनल रेसिपिएंट, या तो दीपिका भी बना सकती है हु इज इन बेंगलोर, पर एक ही वे बिल बनेगा। एक्चुअल में क्या होता है मालूम? गौरी क्या करेगी, वो दीपिका के नाम का ईवे बिल बना देगी बैंगलोर, फिर दीपिका क्या करेगी, प्रियंका के नाम का ईवे बिल बनाएगी गुजरात, और प्रियंका क्या करेगी, शाहरुख के नाम का ईवे बिल बनाएगी मुंबई। दिस इज हाउ एक्चुअली इट इज हैपनिंग प्रैक्टिकली इन द बिजनेस वर्ल्ड, बट द फैक्ट रिमेन्स कि मूवमेंट तो एक ही है फ्रॉम दिल्ली टू मुंबई, बट हाउ मेनी ईवे बिल्स आर मेड फॉर दैट वन सिंगल मूवमेंट? 4. So that is not what is the law prescribing. The law prescribing कि एक मूवमेंट के लिए एक ही ईवे बिल बनेगा, तो आपको खाली दिल्ली टू मुंबई एक ही ईवे बिल बनाना है। Whosoever makes, whether Shahrukh makes, whether Priyanka makes or Deepika, whosoever makes, ईवे बिल एक ही बनाना है, and that ईवे बिल copy can be shared with everybody because सबको प्रूफ तो चाहिए ना कि गुड्स का मूवमेंट होना है, तो वो ही कॉपी के बेसिस पे होगा। ईवे बिल में भी फैसिलिटी है बिल टू शिप टू का, so on that basis only this ईवे बिल needs to be prepared as bill to ship to. Okay, because ईवे बिल में जिसका भी जीएसटी नंबर जाएगा उसके पोर्टल में भी ईवे बिल रिफ्लेक्ट होगा, so that facility has to be used and on that basis ईवे बिल has to be prepared and only one ईवे bill for transportation of goods from Delhi to Mumbai. So this care needs to be taken. Now you will question to me के ईवे बिल में तो वैल्यू दिखता है, तो इसमें हम लोग वैल्यू कैसे ओपन कर दे सबको, बिकॉज शाहरुख को तो 15 लाख का ऑर्डर आया है प्रियंका से, बट प्रियंका में भी आगे जो हिसाब से ऑर्डर करेंगे वो अलग रहेगा अमाउंट, तो एवरीबडी विल नो द प्राइस व्हाट गौरी एज अ मैन्युफैक्चरर इज गिविंग टू दिस दीपिका। गौरी में भी गिविंग बाय 30 for 13 lakhs, तो शाहरुख को पता चल जाएगा कि गौरी ने तो 13 लाख लगाया है और जो प्रियंका है वो 15 लाख मुझे ऑर्डर करे, तो व्हाई आई शुड पे 2 lakhs मोर। बट द ह्यूज पेनल्टी इम्प्लीकेशंस आर देयर, बिकॉज अगर रास्ते में गुड्स पकड़ा गया, ओके, तो देन और आपके पास सही ईवे बिल नहीं रहेगा तो द गुड्स विल गेट कॉन्फिस्केटेड एंड देन देयर इज अ पेनल्टी ऑफ 200% ऑफ द टैक्स अमाउंट, और ऊपर से आपका गुड्स उनके पास रहेगा वो अलग से, और जब भी रिलीज होगा कितना टाइम लगेगा वो पता नहीं। सो हियर एक्चुअली यू रियली नीड टू टेक लॉट ऑफ केयर हाउ द ईवे बिल इज प्रिपेयर्ड इन सच काइंड ऑफ सिनेरियोज आल्सो। नॉर्मली भी क्या होता है कि जब यहाँ से सप्लाई होता है गुड्स, तो then there are two parts in ईवे बिल, everybody is aware there are two parts, part A and part B होता है। part A generally is prepared by the person who is supplying the goods and part B is generally prepared by the transporter who is transporting the goods, because transport के details तो transporter के पास रहते हैं। alright, तो अभी क्या होता है कि मैंने part A पूरा fill कर दिया, then the part B will be filled by the transporter, but as a supplier, I need to mention on my invoice. It is not compulsory. It is advisable to mention the e-way bill number on the invoice. तो मैंने जो e-way bill generate किया है part A में, तभी जो e-way bill number आता है, that I will mention on the invoice. I will send it to the transporter. Transporter अपने details डाल देगा, transport कौन सा truck में जा रहा है, whatever जो जगह पे है, everything he will put, and then e-way bill will be done. Now what I have observed is that in the books of the supplier, or supplier के पास जो documents रहते हैं ना, not in the books but in the documents, We generally have only the part A. Part B रहता ही नहीं. Part B रहता नहीं है क्यों? क्योंकि मैंने तो यही किया है. So that part A is not the actual e-way bill. Please, e-way bill is such which should have both part A, part B होना जरूरी है. तो आपके पास जब documents भी रहते हैं ना for your records, see to it that the e-way bill is proper. Because I have observed generally कि मैंने तो e-way bill बना दिया part A, that I have taken the printout, वो मैंने invoice के पीछे लगा दिया और मैंने file में लगा दिया. Matter over. No, that is not the case. Once the transporter fills the part B, you have to download the full e-way bill which is generated, and that needs to be kept as a record in your records. और अभी e-way bill में भी क्या हो रहा है कि sometimes आपने जो कभी-कभी procedural errors हो जाते हैं, like you know एक कॉमा में मिस्टेक हो गया या क्वांटिटी में कुछ मिस्टेक हो गया, एक फिगर डालने में प्रॉब्लम हो गया. अगर इमीडिएटली ध्यान जाता है तो यू इमीडिएटली कैंसिल द ई-वे बिल. बट अगर ध्यान नहीं गया एंड देन रास्ते में गुड्स पकड़ा जाता है तो गवर्नमेंट हैज गिवन सर्टेन रिलीफ फॉर सर्टेन प्रोसीजरल एरर्स, नॉट बिग एरर्स बट सर्टेन प्रोसीजरल एरर्स के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने रिलीफ दिया है. इफ यू आर हैविंग, if the transporter is having proper invoice document, proper delivery challan and everything, अगर ये सब proper है and if it is matching तो e-way bill में कुछ procedural mistakes के लिए थोड़ा relief दिया है. That is given by a judgment by the courts and not anything in the law. So on the basis of the judgment से आपको relief मिल सकता है. Otherwise e-way bill का penalty is 200% of the tax अगर आपके goods confiscate हो जाते हैं. Now the crux of the GST, input tax credit. Everybody is thinking whether it's a myth or a reality, because there was so much advocation of seamless flow of credit. ये seamless flow of credit actual में है कि ये एक myth है, because at present the kind of problems everybody is facing, it feels that seamless flow of credit is just a myth and not a reality. तो वो कैसे करें? अभी आपको इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट अंडर व्हाट सर्कमस्टेंसेस में मिल सकता है? You can get the input tax credit only if you are in possession of a tax invoice or e-invoice if e-invoice applicability है आपके supplier को. तो if you are in possession of a tax invoice, the details should be reflected in GSTR 2B 2A whatever. Goods and services must be received. आपके पास goods और services होने चाहिए. The ITC should not be restricted. It means what? अभी नया एक सेक्शन आया है. By the virtue of this section, एक स्टेटमेंट आएगा पोर्टल पे आपको, जिसमें आपको पता चलेगा कि कौन सी ITC आपको रेस्ट्रिक्ट की गई है. तो दैट अभी तक वो स्टेटमेंट आया नहीं है पोर्टल पर, जब भी आएगा तभी है, पर उसमें आपको बताया जाएगा कि ये वाली ITC आपको नहीं लेनी है तो वो आपको रिवर्स करना है. ओके, दैट ITC शुड नॉट हैव बीन रेस्ट्रिक्टेड. टैक्स मस्ट हैव बीन पेड. वो जो जिस बंदे से आपने गुड्स परचेज किए हैं, दैट पर्सन नीड्स टू फाइल GSTR 3B and pay the tax of that amount. Return must have been furnished by the supplier. वो supplier ने return भी furnish करना है. तो आपको खाली आपका ही ध्यान नहीं रखना है. You have to be, things have to be taken care of from the point of view of the supplier also. Now वो supplier अगर non compliance करता है तो आपको कैसे पता चलेगा? Because that will lead to the disallowance of ITC. आपको कैसे पता चले? आपको तो कभी पता चलता है जब भी आपको नोटिस आती है, तभी आपको पता चलता है अरे इसने तो 1 फाइल ही नहीं किया है, 3B फाइल ही नहीं किया है. So how to be sure whether आप जिनसे goods purchase कर रहे हो, जो goods खरीद रहे हो, whether that supplier is proper or not, whether that supplier is falling under e-invoice, whether that supplier is actually filing the 3B or not, how do you come to know? Okay, तो उसके लिए एक तरीका है. आपके GST पोर्टल पे आपको लॉग इन करना है. ओके, वंस यू लॉग इन टू योर GST पोर्टल, you go to search taxpayer और वहां पे आप वो सप्लायर का GST डाल देंगे। जब भी आप सर्च करेंगे ना तो आपको पूरा ये स्क्रीन आएगा जिसमें सप्लायर का लीगल नेम रहेगा, ट्रेड नेम इफ एनी वो रहेगा, सप्लायर का जुरिस्डिक्शनल ऑफिस कौन सा है वो भी मेंशन होगा, उसका डेट ऑफ रजिस्ट्रेशन कौन सा है, उसका प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस कौन सा है। ओके, सो ये आपको बहुत सारा चीज डिस्प्ले होता है। जस्ट एज वी गो नेक्स्ट स्लाइड, आई हैव टेकन इट पार्ट, तो आपको इतना पता चलता है। देन व्हाट एल्स यू कम टू नो, आपको ये उसका कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ बिजनेस कौन सा है, मतलब पार्टनरशिप फर्म है, वेदर उसका GST एक्टिव है कि नहीं वो पता चलता है। ये टैक्स पेयर टाइप कौन सा है, मतलब SEZ है, रेगुलर है, कंपोजिशन है, वो पता चलता है आपको। उसका टर्नओवर कितना है 21-22 के लिए वो भी पता चलता है, वो स्लैब भी देते हैं। तो इसके बेसिस पे यू विल बी एबल टू कम टू नो दैट वेदर इट इज मोर देन 10 CR, and if it is more than 10 CR then obviously e-invoice is applicable. So then check whether that supplier has issued the e-invoice and given to you or not. So this is how you check. Then this is the gross total income on the basis of whatever income tax return they have filed, and that is whether up to क्या rate तक है, so 2.5 lakhs. This percentage of tax payment in cash is for composition dealers specifically. Whether उसने आधार ऑथेंटिकेशन किया है कि नहीं, this is also an important criteria nowadays, that आपका registration should be आधार authenticated. If it is not आधार authenticated, that means you are not complying to the registration provisions and rules. Then again 25,000 का penalty will be applicable. So this आधार authentication is very necessary. और कौन सी तारीख को किया है वो भी दिया है। On the basis of this you are aware that this person is proper or this supplier is proper. फिर e-KYC वेरीफाइड हुआ है, अगर आधार ऑथेंटिकेशन हो जाता है तो यहाँ पे नॉट एप्लीकेबल फिगर आएगा। Then in what goods and services this person deals. Now why is this important? Why is this HSN also important? Because this should match with your invoice. Okay, the HSN which is there on the portal of this supplier should match with the HSN reflecting on your invoice. If he is giving you an invoice which is not mentioned here, that means he is dealing in the goods and services for which he is not registered. So again, there are chances that you might not get the input tax credit, or there may be a issue during the assessment relating to your input tax credit. So that HSN is very important. यहाँ पे नेचर ऑफ बिजनेस एक्टिविटी भी मिलती है उनकी, कि व्हाट इज देयर, हु आर द पार्टनर्स प्रोप्राइटर्स, वो भी मिल जाता है, व्हाट इज द नेचर वो भी मिल जाता है। आप नीचे टेबल देखोगे तो देयर इज शो फाइलिंग टेबल, ई-वे बिल हिस्ट्री, लायबिलिटी पेड परसेंटेज और शो रिटर्न फाइलिंग फ्रीक्वेंसी, ये सब भी आपको मिलता है। नाउ ईच टेबल हम लोग सेपरेटली देखेंगे। लायबिलिटी पेड परसेंटेज, नाउ व्हाट इज दिस टेबल? This table is the percentage of liability of what is declared in the GSTR1 and what you have paid. So for example, when you see here it is 100%, that means जितना GSTR1 में declare किया है उतना pay किया है। So then you are, अगर आपका 2A 2B में reflect हो जाता है उसका credit, that means you are assured कि उसने 3B भी file किया है और पूरा tax भरा है ना। अगर आप देखेंगे यहाँ पे देखो 94% रेड में है अक्टूबर में, इट मींस व्हाट कि अक्टूबर मंथ में उसने GSTR1 में 100 रुपया डिक्लेयर किया है, बट ही हैज पेड ओनली 94 रुपीस, 6 रुपीस इज नॉट पेड। व्हाई ही हैज नॉट पेड? देयर मे बी सम अमेंडमेंट्स ऑफ द पास्ट और व्हाटएवर, बट स्टिल दैट इज आल्सो सीन when you do this search taxpayer. So all this information you are getting from the portal itself. So tomorrow the government might say कि इतना information हम लोग दे रहे फिर भी आप बोल रहे हो हमको information नहीं मिल रहा है. That records you might not be able to take during the assessment. आपको e-way bill का भी दिखाई देता है. Now we all are aware that e-way bill is blocked. We all are aware that e-way bill is blocked अगर 2 महीने के रिटर्न्स फाइल नहीं किए गए. तो जब भी ऐसा आता है यहाँ पे कि ईवे बिल ब्लॉक हो गया, उसका मतलब कि ये बंदे ने रिटर्न फाइल नहीं किया है फॉर दैट पीरियड। फिर आपको बाजू में ईवे बिल अनब्लॉक का डेट भी आता है, सो दैट मीन्स के उसका हो गया। सो ये डिटेल्स भी आपको मिल रही है फ्रॉम योर सर्च टेक्स्ट पेयर के ऑप्शन में ही, आफ्टर यू लॉग इन इनटू योर जीएसटी पोर्टल। ओके, फिर ये आपको बताएगा कि फाइलिंग फ्रीक्वेंसी कितना है, वेदर इट इज मंथली क्वार्टरली, तो देन यू विल बी एबल टू नो कि वो बंदा मंथली में कवर्ड है कि क्वार्टरली कवर्ड है। सो यू विल बी एबल टू नो कि भाई आपको this all information I think you should check before you deal with that supplier. So suppose कोई नया supplier आ रहा है आपके पास and you are not sure whether how to trust them, so you can put this GSTI and get all these details of that new supplier, which will help you to assess that person, and then it will give you an idea whether you have to deal with that person or not, so that आपका credit आपके पास रहे। फिर ये है कि उसने वेदर 3B और 1 फाइल किया है कि नहीं किया है, सो यू गेट फॉर ऑल द पीरियड्स, और कौन से दिन को किया है वेदर, और ये तारीख देख के आपको पता भी चल जाएगा कि वेदर दिस पर्सन इज कंप्लायंट और नॉट, बिकॉज एवरीबडी नोज दैट GSTR 1 हैज टू बी फाइल्ड बिफोर 11th। अगर आप 11 तारीख से पहले फाइल नहीं करते हो तो वो महीने में, अगर वो बंदा 11 तारीख से पहले नहीं करता है तो वो महीने में आपको ITC नहीं मिलेगा। ओके, तो आपकी ITC सिक्योर करने के लिए यू हैव टू चेक वेदर ही इज कंप्लायंट। नाउ अगर आप इसमें देखेंगे तो GSTR 1 की डेट्स 24th को फाइल किया है, 12th को फाइल किया है, सो यू नो 15th को फाइल किया है, so it is not, it is filed after 11th, so you will come to know that this person is not regularly filing GSTR 1, and then there are chances कि your ITC might be restricted, so then आपको ये ध्यान में रखना है। So this all precautions you can, this all information you can avail before dealing with that supplier from the GST portal itself. यहाँ पे ये भी दिखाता है कि whether that person has filed the 99C. Now we all know that above 5 CR 99C compulsory है, तो ये बंदे ने 99C फाइल किया है कि नहीं, when they have filed, वो सारी information आपको मिल रही है। So this is how you can, you know, analyze the you can say the trustability of the supplier when you are dealing with that supplier. ये मैंने आपको पहले बताया कि ये नया सेक्शन इंट्रोड्यूस किया है जो आपको एक स्टेटमेंट देगा कि आपको कितना क्रेडिट अवेलेबल है और कितना नहीं अवेलेबल है। तो अभी तो आप क्या कर रहे हो कि जितना 2B में दिख रहा है आप सब क्रेडिट ले रहे हो, ओके, बट आगे चल के एक ऐसा स्टेटमेंट आएगा कि जो 2B का क्रेडिट भी डिसअलाउ करेगा। नाउ दैट विल कम एज वी गो अहेड, एंड वी आर नॉट येट अवेयर कि कैसा स्टेटमेंट आएगा, बट अभी जैसे 2B है ना, आपको GSTR 1 का फाइलिंग डेट दे रही है, ओके, इन द सेम वे 2A gives you the 3B filing date also. So at present also you can, if you check 2A, you will know कि भाई वो बंदे ने 3B फाइल किया है कि नहीं किया, बिकॉज जब भी 2B आता है तभी तो आपको उतना ही पता चलता है कि वो बंदे ने 1 फाइल कर दिया है। Whether that person has paid the tax or not, you don't know. Whether that person has filed 3B or not, you don't know. But अगर आप 2A चेक करोगे आफ्टर 20th, मतलब 3B के डेट के बाद 2A चेक करोगे तो उसमें वो बंदे ने कभी 3B फाइल किया है ना, वो डेट भी आ जाता है। सो 2A एक अलग स्टेटमेंट है, 2B एक अलग स्टेटमेंट है, ओके। जो भी अमेंडमेंट कर रहे हैं आपके सप्लायर्स, दैट आल्सो इज रिफ्लेक्टेड इन 2B, एंड दैट आल्सो यू नीड टू टेक केयर ऑफ, बिकॉज व्हाट विल हैपन दैट इफ यू विल नॉट कंसीडर दोस अमेंडमेंट्स, देन देयर आर चांसेस that there will be mismatch of ITC, and then again unnecessary notices will come. Also अभी by way of circular recently 3B कैसे बनाने का उसका फॉर्मेट प्रिस्क्राइब किया है, and the department expects you to stick to that format and file the 3B so that there are less issuance of notices. Okay, so those taxpayers are expected to follow that format जो 3B का particularly circular आया हुआ है. So this was about ITC. और एक चीज आपको ध्यान में रखनी है कि अगर आपके पास जो आईटीसी के जरूरी चीजें रहती है वो एक भी चीज अगर नहीं है तो देन योर आईटीसी विल बी डिसअलाउड. तो ये एक छोटा कॉम्प्लायंस एरर सप्लायर की तरफ से होता है बट उसका इम्प्लीकेशन आपके ऊपर ज्यादा आएगा बिकॉज आपका आईटीसी डिसअलाउ हो जाएगा. So all these precautions if you take before dealing with that person, maybe you will get a seamless flow of credit in reality. Now GST return filing में भी बहुत सारे issues आते हैं सबको, but GST return filing में एक option है कि those can be amended. आपने अगर mistakes किया है, if you have made a mistake in filing GSTR1, 3B, that can be amended. So see to it that if you amend 1, you have to amend 3B also, because then again there will be a mismatch. What kind of mistakes are there? Wrong GSTI. अगर आपने गलत GSTI डाल दिया तो आपके एक्चुअल कस्टमर जो है उसको ITC नहीं मिलेगा. तो बट दिस कैन बी अमेंडेड. अमेंडेड के लिए टाइम है वो हम सबको पता है. इनकरेक्ट वैल्यू, अगर आपने इनकरेक्ट वैल्यू दिया है तो वो कस्टमर का ITC will be restricted to that amount which is incorrect. Incorrect tax rate. B2B sale shown as B2C sale. So then again there will be आपके कस्टमर को ITC नहीं मिलेगा क्योंकि 2A 2B में आपका सप्लाई आएगा नहीं, तो that person will not get the ITC. Sale और credit note entry completely missed out. मतलब आपने supply, you have made the supply and you completely missed out putting it into your GSTR1, then or GSTR3B. So then again your customer will not get the ITC. Wrong place of supply, that is IGST shown as CGST and SGST. This is also a very common mistake in while filing the returns. In such a case, what happens is that in your invoice, suppose you have levied IGST, okay, but when you are filing GSTR1, you are say giving a wrong GST number, and because of which CGST, SGST is reflected. For example, your customer has branches, okay. Now, say you have raised to the Gujarat branch the invoice. So invoice from Maharashtra to Gujarat रहेगा, so that will levy IGST. But जब GSTR1 फाइल कर रहे हो तो आप उनका महाराष्ट्र का GST नंबर डाल देते हो गलती से, तो वहां पे CGST, SGST आ जाएगा. आपका इनवॉइस में IGST रहेगा, GSTR1 में CGST, SGST रहेगा. तो वो बंदे का 2B में वो CGST, SGST का ITC ले लेगा. If he is not properly checking, then on ad hoc basis he will take the CGST, SGST, ITC. और बुक्स में क्या होगा? IGST का ITC रहेगा. So again mismatch between the books and the 3B, and at the same time mismatch between the actual. और जब भी आप 3B भरोगे तो आप IGST पे करोगे. So then आपके भी 1 और 3B में mismatch आ गया. So you can imagine कि it's just a small mistake. People will think अरे IGST गलती से C और S, पर उसका implications कैसे आता है कि there will be a difference between your 1 and 3B. There will be a difference in the ITC taken and what is the actual ITC, that, and there will also be a difference in the books and the returns filed. Okay, so because of which there is a possibility of the notices being issued in future. The notices किसके लिए आ सकती है? Mismatch in returns and e-way bill. E-way bill और returns के बीच में mismatch रहेगा तो भी notices आ सकती है. Now I'll give you one example. This is a live example which has happened with one of our clients. This person used to export goods, but while making the e-way bill, what was happening is generally what happens that all exporters will make the e-way bill till the port. So this person used to make the e-way bill till the port, and he used to levy tax on the e-way bill because he was ignorant कि भाई e-way bill में exporter में without tax जाता है. अब उसने किस तरह से भी supply दिखाया है to the port तक, Okay, so he was leaving tax on that e-way bill, and the actual supply of exports was without payment of tax. So return में there was no tax. E-way bill में there is a crores of rupees का tax. Okay, so then a huge notice has come now. Now these people have to prove कैसे e-way bill कैसे गया, and that has been done for the whole throughout the year continuously. तो पूरा एक साल के लिए this flaw was continued, and the repercussion was now they are stuck up in the assessment and the notice. Okay, now they have to prove that e-way bill में ऐसा क्यों गया, why this mistake and why the actual supply, whether they have evaded the tax or not, and the implication is obviously to the amount of 100% of the tax evasion, that is the penalty. Then mismatch in GSTR 1 and 3B. Very small thing. कोई अमाउंट आपका 1 में गया है, 3B में आप गलती से टैक्स पे करना भूल जाते हो. ओके, या तो फिर 3B में आपने टैक्स पे किया, 1 में उसका सप्लाई दिखाना भूल गया, या व्हाटएवर कुछ अमेंडमेंट किया प्रीवियसली, देयर इज अ मिसमैच इन 3B एंड 1. आपको उसका रिकंसिलिएशन रखना है कंपल्सरी, बिकॉज नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस इज कि आपने 1 में दिखा दिया से आपने 1 में दिखाया द टैक्स अमाउंट ऑफ 1 लाख, 3B में आपने पे किया 80,000. व्हाई? बिकॉज 20,000 कुछ प्रीवियस पीरियड का आपने रिड्यूस किया, क्रेडिट नोट वगैरह जो भी है, तो आपने 80,000 पे. इमीडिएटली यू रिसीव अ नोटिस दैट यू हैव डिक्लेयर्ड द taxes of 1 lakh rupees and you are paying 80,000. That means you have paid the tax less. That means you are at default. And अभी सीधा रिकवरी पे भी जाते हैं. By issuing the notice, if you do not reply immediately for this mismatch of 1 and 3B, they will directly conduct the recovery proceedings. So do not take these notices lightly. Whenever you have a notice for mismatch of 1 and 3B, immediately reply to them, and you have to keep the RICO, give them the RICO. Okay, so that otherwise the implication is that they will immediately start the recovery proceedings and they will collect the tax from you. Mismatch in e-invoicing in GSTR 1. Here also again they are thinking that अगर e-invoicing में ज़्यादा है, GSTR 1 में कम है, it means you have not shown the supply properly in the GSTR 1, so you have evaded the tax, so you need to pay the tax. Again the same penalty implications. The last is mismatch in ITC of 3B taken in 3B and reflecting in 2A 2B. Here also now this mistakes has reduced to a great extent, but still whether 3B or 2A 2B का आपके पास reconciliation नहीं रहेगा, and if you are not able to prove why you have taken more in 3B and it is less shown in 2B, that much ITC will be disallowed, and the matter will go on and on in litigation. The only records available now, once the officer passes the order, is appeal. Okay. So all these things are very important. Minor things, छोटा things है कि भी generally returns are filed by the accountants. Okay, generally returns are filed by some people who returns are not filed by the owners, so the owners are not aware. They are aware only when the notices comes that all these things has happened. So as a owner, first precaution you need to take is you have to assess the trustability of your supplier. I just as I showed to you. So once that supplier's trustability is assured, then the rest is that okay, ठीक है, बाकी का notices नहीं आएगा. But reconciliation needs to be kept. So आपका accounting system should be such that every month all the GST entries should be reconciled with whatever has been filed. Do not go for backdated entries because that will create a hell lot of problems. Okay, and at the same time, whatever invoicing, e-invoice you are issuing, e-way bill you are issuing, see to it that they are thorough. And your system should be such that these compliances are automatically checked. Okay, nowadays the accounting systems are also having inbuilt software of checking whether whatever you have filed is correct or not. So please see to it that you have installed such systems, and then accordingly you can file the return. So friends, this is as far as the e-way bill, e-invoicing and e-returns is concerned. I have just covered the overall basic things जो commonly हमको difficult आ रही है, and I have not gone into detail कि भाई आगे और क्या हो सकता है as per the law and what. So if any questions relating to any compliance things or other than return, invoicing and e-way bill is also welcome.
Yeah, take a question answer first. Yeah, Ritesh Purwal, आप बोल सकते हो.
I have a question. That one example you had given from Shahrukh to Gori.
Correct.
Gori to Shahrukh supply.
Right.
In that case, like if the Gori and Shahrukh both are not eligible for e-invoicing, and in between anyone like Priyanka is eligible for e-invoicing, and then e-invoicing will generate automatically e-way bill along with e-invoice. So how this whole thing will be managed?
Okay, so first of all, what you are saying that e-invoicing will generate e-way bill automatically, that is not the case. If how the case is that suppose you are if Priyanka is generating the e-way bill, then e-invoicing details will be auto-populated.
Okay.
It is not that agar e-invoice generate ho gaya to e-way bill automatically generate ho gaya. No, that is not the case.
No, but in that case, from Gauri to Shahrukh, everyone know every party and all the amounts, like what the differences they everyone having. So there are chances that in future that Shahrukh and Gauri can deal themselves and they can surpass Priyanka and Deepika.
I see that those all are business difficulties. I completely agree. In that case, you have to find a middle way out. Okay, then how the e-way bill needs to be raised. But if I understand, that is the precise reason I have taken this example, because this is happening in the iron and steel market. This is happening in the I think jewelry market also, and one more industry. The same issues are happening. That party to party to party, and the movement of goods is only one time. That is the precise reason I have taken this example, because we have to find a practical solution of how to raise the e-way bill so that the value of invoice is not showed on the e-way bill, right? So in this case, it's not necessary that Gauri should raise an e-way bill. Gauri will not raise the e-way bill. You can tell Shahrukh also to raise the e-way bill. Also in the midway, Priyanka, the Shahrukh is buying it from Priyanka. Priyanka also can raise the e-way bill from Gauri to Shahrukh. See, what is important is raising of e-way bill. E-way bill में ऐसा नहीं है कि suppose supplier who is raising the e-way bill, तो write the GST of the supplier, but the place from where the goods are to be picked up has to be the address of the Gauri. That way also e-way bill can be raised. It is not necessary कि अगर प्रियंका का GST आ जाएगा तो नीचे प्रियंका का address automatic आता है. Agreed, but that you can change it. So you have to change to that Gauri's address, and the last person to whom the goods are delivered should be dispatch to का address. Dispatch to में आ जाएगा.
So that can be managed in bill to and ship to.
Correct.
But the things come up.
This is bill to and ship to only, na?
Yeah. So bill to and ship to in between, like if you are only mentioning address instead of IGST, GST number.
You can mention, why not? You
Because
can, other options, there are various other options also available to transport the goods under delivery challan or something like that. Various options are available depending on how the situation is. But e-way bill has to be one, that is as per the law.
And what if in past we have deal with the like all these 3-4 e-way bills?
Correct. What has been dealt with. अगर आपको future में notice आएगा, तो our doors are open, office doors. My contact number is also there. You can very well come. We'll provide you with the solution. This is just on the lighter side, but whatever is done. That cannot be undone now. But the fact remains that this precaution needs to be taken.
Thank you.
Okay, the Lion Hanuman Rao Please.
हेलो
Yeah,
गुड
please.
इवनिंग मैडम.
Yes, good evening, sir.
मैम मेरा एक ही टॉपिक पे 3-4 क्वेश्चन है.
Okay, sir.
मैं जॉब वर्क का काम करता हूँ और जो
Okay.
पार्टी जॉब वर्क के लिए देता है, सपोज एक्स पार्टी है, 1 लाख पीसेस दिया मुझे जॉब वर्क के लिए.
Correct.
वो जब जॉब वर्क के लिए देता है वो ईवे बिल नहीं बनाता है, और मैं जब मटेरियल सप्लाई करता हूँ तो मैं अपना ईवे बिल बनाता हूँ
Okay.
और पार्टली डिलीवरी करता हूँ. सब ये 1 लाख पीस आया तो 4 पार्ट्स में मैं डिलीवरी करता हूँ.
Okay.
तो मैं चलन पे डिलीवरी करता हूँ. चलन जब बनाता हूँ तो ईवे बिल भी बनाता हूँ.
बराबर है.
फिर बाद में उसके बाद फिर जो 4 चलन हो जाएगा, फिर एक ही बार मैं बिल बना के भेज देता हूँ.
हाँ.
एक हो गया. और एक हो गया, उस जॉब वर्क में मैं अपना पर्सनली कुछ मटेरियल यूज करता हूँ, तो यूज करके मैं वो बिल बनाता हूँ. तो वो प्रॉपर है क्या? ये बिल बना के देता हूँ और जो बिल बनाता हूँ वो प्रॉपर है क्या?
हाँ,
है क्या?
प्रॉपर है. आप एब्सोल्युटली राइट ट्रैक पे जा रहे हो कि आप जितनी बार आपका जो पार्ट गुड्स भेज रहे हो वो आप डिलीवरी
हाँ,
चलन पे जा रहे हो. फिर इनवॉइस एक ही रहेगा, पर वो इनवॉइस
Yes.
में आपको मेंशन करना है कि ये डिलीवरी चलन नंबर और ये
Yes.
अमाउंट वैल्यू का गुड्स गया. वैसे अगर आप कर रहे हो तो आप एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट जा रहे हो.
करेक्ट
आप खुद
करता हूँ
का
मैं.
मटेरियल भी डाल रहे हो तो वो भी ऑटोमेटिक आपके लेबर चार्जेस वैल्यू में इंक्लूड हो जाएगा सर.
ओके, लेकिन वो जो पार्टी है मेरा वो ईवे बिल नहीं बनाता तो
So
चलेगा?
that party is at default. You are not at default.
ओके ओके.
वो नहीं
Thank you,
बना रही है तो वो पार्टी डिफॉल्ट कर रही है. आप तो सही
थैंक
जा
यू.
रहे हो.
यस मैम, थैंक यू.
Yeah, Roshni ji, Roshni Advani, you have raised a hand.
Yeah, I have one query. This from 1st October, the export ocean freight पे GST, IGST is levied at the rate of 5% and 18% depending on the vessels.
Correct.
Then this export ocean freight, suppose my company is this logistic company, they are providing the services for the this export ocean freight, and they are showing IGST, okay, and the person to whom they are rendering the services, it's a Maharashtra party, but the goods are exporting, so it's depend on the place of destination, so they are showing IGST. So
Correct.
how the person, the Maharashtra person, can claim the input of that IGST?
Why
How we need to show in the GSTR1, because as we enter the in B2B transaction, as we enter the Maharashtra ka number, so there is column of CGST, SGST, no IGST column.
नहीं. In the place of supply, you have to select that place, other territory. Then you will be allowed to put into IGST.
In place of supply, other territory. In GSTR1, there is a column for that.
Yes.
In B2B?
You have to change the place of supply for that.
Okay.
And that facility is available in the Tally account. If you are using Tally, that facility is available in that accounting software also. So directly from the software also you can upload it, but you have to select the place. You need to change the place of supply.
Okay, so I have to select the place of supply, other territory, and there I have to enter the B2B. And
Yes.
in the same invoices, we are charging this what we call document handling charges and other charges also, on which the CGST, SGST apply. So how we have to split this one invoice in the two places?
I am surprised how that person is raising the invoice.
See, in the same
You have to raise two separate invoices then for freight separately, because if you will raise in the same invoice, IGST, CGST, SGST, all the three taxes cannot be levied.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So two separate invoices. One is for export ocean freight, and one
Correct.
is for that handling charges and other charges.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Pankaj Shurana ji, our own member. Dipali Ben, can you share screen share जो है बंद कर दो? हाँ, तो people can, you can view the people. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, पंकज जी आप अनम्यूट करो अपने आप को. आवाज बढ़ाओ, आवाज नहीं आ रही आपकी पंकज जी. No, we cannot receive. आवाज नहीं आ रही आपकी सर. या तब तक किंचित. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, perfect. Go ahead.
Good evening, ma'am. I have a few questions about e-way bill as well as GST. There is a sister concerns, means a group of companies. In company A, is under manufacturing and company B is under trading. Company A manufactures goods and sells to its sister concern company B. So there is no movement of goods from one place to another. Then also it is compulsory to raise e-way bill.
No, e-way bill is raised only when there is movement of goods. If there is no movement of goods, there is no e-way bill.
And with regards to Maharashtra, what is the value limit for raising of e-way bill for sending material for job work?
For job work, there is no limit. Even for zero value, you have to raise an e-way bill.
Means for if I'm sending goods for job work, then also if it is within 50,000, then also I have to raise e-way bill.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, and with regards to GST, if a firm is being winded up, and that firm is under inverted GST ratio, means input GST is more than output GST, and over the years he's claiming some amounts also as inverted tax ratio. That at the time of wind up, if there is any GST surplus in credit ledger, will he get the refund?
If as per the formula, if he is not eligible, he will not get the refund.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Kinjit, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes.
Good evening. I have one query related. If suppose there is a supply of both a non-GST item as well as taxable supply, and e-invoicing is applicable.
Here.
So then, how can you show it in one invoice?
No.
Basically, there's this petrol pump dealer. So if there are this is their contract systems they have, like monthly contracts are there. So there is an invoice to the corporate. So only one invoice is raised. Corporates generally they don't take separate invoices for petrol and diesel invoice.
What is your query? I'm not able to understand the
So
invoice.
for e-invoice, for e-invoicing, they have to mention in like the same invoice. So then we have to show it as others, right?
Yes, obviously.
And then, but then what happens is when GSTR1 is generated, in that it goes under zero rated by default. And and then we have to show it in this also, what do you say, non-GST. So then it becomes twice.
Correct.
So what is the solution for it?
Yeah,
like we have to sit and delete.
Best solution is to raise two invoice only, separate for non-GST and separate for taxable supply. So then you have to convince your customer, because portal doesn't give you the solution for this.
Okay.
Or else what you can do is, while raising the invoice for e-invoice, you only put your taxable whatever, non-GST wala you don't put there.
Okay. Fine.
But if it is coming from the system, again, it will automatically prepare. So the only option available to you is to prepare the two invoices.
Okay.
Because
fine.
portal doesn't give solution for this.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Anyone has any questions?
Hello.
Yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah. Please go ahead.
मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है. हेलो.
Yes, sir. बोलिए सर.
By September 30th सब जो मेरे aggregate turnover 40 lakh cross होता है, and I have taken the registration number in the month of October and I have allotted the number in November. तो मेरा अक्टूबर का परचेज और सेल्स का कॉन्सिक्वेंस क्या होएगा? Whether I get ITC and other thing?
आपका जो क्रॉस हुआ था टर्नओवर, उसके 30 डेज के अंदर आपने अप्लाई किया था रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए?
या अप्लाई किया था
ना, तो जब भी आपने फर्स्ट रिटर्न फाइल करेंगे ना नवंबर का, उसमें वो सारा आपको सेल्स दिखा देना है जो आपने अक्टूबर टू नवंबर में किया है, बिकॉज आपको नंबर लेट मिला बिकॉज ऑफ दैट रजिस्ट्रेशन प्रोसेस.
जी, बट वो आईटीसी मिलेगा मेरे को वो पीरियड का?
किसका?
जो अक्टूबर पीरियड में, जो रजिस्ट्रेशन के पीरियड में जो मैंने अप्लाई किया था.
पर रजिस्ट्रेशन आपको लेट किस तरह से मिला? वेदर इट वाज रिजेक्टेड और हाउ इट वाज?
रिजेक्ट नहीं किया, मैं एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर क्रॉस होने के बाद ही अप्लाई किया.
नहीं, आई एग्री के टर्नओवर क्रॉस होने के बाद आपने अप्लाई किया और आपको नंबर नवंबर में आया, राइट?
डिपार्टमेंट से लेटर आया है कि यू हैव टू टेक द नंबर करके, लेट आया।
ओके,
और
जो आपका फर्स्ट रिटर्न जाएगा उसको आप उसमें आपको ये भरना है टैक्स, आपका आउटवर्ड सप्लाई उसमें दिखाना है।
अक्टूबर का परचेज का क्या होएगा?
अक्टूबर का परचेज आपका अगर रजिस्ट्रेशन नंबर आपको अगर ऐसा आ रहा है कि विथ इफेक्ट फ्रॉम सितंबर, तो आपको आईटीसी मिल जाएगा। अगर वो विथ इफेक्ट नहीं रहेगा तो नहीं मिलेगा
ना।
हाँ,
मतलब तब तक मेरा नंबर नहीं आया, इसलिए मैंने नंबर तो किसी का दिया
नहीं। एप्लीकेशन के टाइम यू हैव टू राइट ना कि आप कब से लायबल हो। दैट लायबिलिटी रिफ्लेक्ट्स ऑन योर रजिस्ट्रेशन सर्टिफिकेट।
नहीं, एप्लीकेशन में लायबल कब से? अच्छा, अगर लायबल लिखेंगे तो मिल जाएगा अपने को।
यस,
ओके, थैंक यू।
Yeah, anything, anybody else? I think okay.
I have one query.
Yeah, Roshni, please go.
Ma'am, can you just tell me कि in housing society na we have to claim the proportionate input tax, correct? In the housing societies, housing cooperative
there is exempt and taxable both.
Yeah, for exempt and taxable both portion are there, and only for the taxable turnover we have to calculate the proportionate ITC, and the other than proportionate ITC we have to we have to pay the GST amount. But what happened, I have received one cooperative housing society now, and earlier CA has claimed all the ITC. So then now what should I do? Whether I should reverse in the return, and or either I will give the treatment in the annual return only.
Madam, this we
and
can
pay
discuss,
the amount.
This we can discuss one-on-one. You can call me or WhatsApp me, because this is something which is related to the law, nothing related to the compliance thing.
Actually,
yeah.
Actually, I am also a little bit confused ki how I should, whether I should give the effect in this return, GST return, or whether I should give the effect in the annual return. Correct, and pay the liability through DIR C03, or what to do.
Right. We can connect one-on-one.
Yeah, okay, I will.
Yeah, Kinjal madam.
Yeah, Deepali madam, in e-invoicing, suppose I have missed one invoice in the month of April, which I came to know in the month of September or October. So is it okay if I'm adding that invoice in the e-invoicing now with invoice date as April? So is there any repercussion of this, any interest or penalty, something like that?
See, this is a procedural lapse that you have raised the e-invoice late. Okay, so procedural lapse may the department might forgive you, but raise karna zaruri hai, otherwise the opposite person will not get the ITC.
See, all other invoices we have raised, but that e-invoicing is done only one minute missed by mistake.
आपको raise करना है, late तो late आपको raise करना है. At the most आपको छोटा penalty लग सकता है, if at all. Generally नहीं लगेगा.
Chances are less.
But if at all, yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we had enough question. I think her number is there, so आप कभी भी इसको contact कर सकते हो, and you can, she will be available always as usual. Before we go for the formal vote of thanks, I think first of all I recognize the presence of Advocate Amol Mane from the Sangli, Jagdish Sharma from the Amravati. He's our Lion member also. His brother is a June member of the Amravati, and probably the next program we are planning to have is on the Inter Maharashtra project. We are going with the Lion. Also recognize the Sujoy Mehta, Vinit Duar, then Kurulkar from the then Arun Baheti, Narendra Sonawane, Chirag Parekh, they all were there during this session. I was thankful to them. I also thankful to our past district governor, Pradeep Bhai Kaparia, our Lion Hanuman Rao Sangam from Mumbai Elite team was always there with me this time. So thank you so much with that. And all my team member of the Lions, Valkeshwar, I think they are all with us. Surendra Bhai, Ritesh Bhai, Kuldeep Bhai, Mukesh Bhai, Vinesh Bhai, Pankaj Bhai, as usual, Hemant, and everybody was there with us. So that's what the good things. All other members, Jatin and Sachin, and all that. So that's fantastic. And Deepali man, I think you were amazing. This type of lecture, I think we have seen first time. I think in my time as a GST also, we have not gone for this type of lecture. The compliance error. So basically the motive behind that case, the small error cost you how much things. I think something may not be knowing my money of them, even you, me too also. So that's very nice that, very good. I also recognize Manakin Bhayati, our committee member from Pune, for all this support given today. I think before we wind up, I think we have many people to talk on that. Jagdish Bhai Sharma from Amravati sir, please give your review and all. Jagdish Bhai, please give your.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much, Alok Bhai. Thank you very much. Deepali madam, very nice deliberation. She has covered all the things very nice. She is batted well. She is bowled well. She is all rounder. So very nice. She is a good author. So I know her personally. She is very good. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much. Very nice deliberation.
Thank you. And thank you so much. I also would like the elite member, Hanuman Rao Sangamji, but please show your light. So I'm very happy that you joined with us for Lions Club, Valkeshwar. Sir, आप unmute पे हो. Unmute में हो. Unmute कर दीजिए अपने आप को.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. And and lastly, I think my always past district governor of the Lions Club of Valkeshwar, okay, Pradeep Bhai Kapalia, I think without that, remark, I say the grace that he's always with us. And so Pradeep Bhai, please go ahead with your views.
Alok Bhai, past district governor, not of Lions, it is district 323, not Valkeshwar.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I'm the member. On the contrary, you should have called me as a member. I would be happy. And I think excellent presentation. Deepali, as usual, she is an excellent orator, let me tell you. And I think she is a partner of Ashit. Both are brilliant. Let me tell you, I was with Ashit today and we met the commissioner. Alok sir has taken us to the commissioner. Thank you very much. And we have briefed them about our Lions Club of Valkeshwar and how we can coordinate. But I think Deepali, you had in a very common man's language. Let me tell you, yes, she has explained everything in a very lucid manner. And I think this will help everyone, not only the Lions and even the business community who has been there. And I think someone has said that if they get this link and they can refer, I think President Alok, you should see to it that everyone can get the benefit also who has missed out. So if we can provide that, that would be very useful. And what can I say? We used to do twinning projects of charity, but this is the first time. And heads off to my president for having such thinking out of the box and having such an excellent twinning project of education, basically with Lions Club of Corporate, that is the district A3 and A1. We usually do activity of charity with Panvel Club and all that Adivasi student, we call it. And we do that charity product. But for the first time, I think this is what my president has the vision. He thinks something different every time. And I always feel that winners don't do anything different. They just do it differently. And that is what Alok is doing it. Hats off to Alok to keep on doing such excellent programs. Educate people. Yes, that is also education also is a charity, let me tell you. And that is what we are imparting. And when we have such brilliant speakers with us, we can always take the advantage of that and pass it on to everyone who will be benefited by this. So thank you very much. And thank you all my Lions and all my GSTPM members who have joined this program. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alok sir, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
I just want to tell you that this program has been viewed or it's been attended by the students also. There are business house, there are the professionals across the India. The number will be there, but there are people across the India. I got that WhatsApp. Somebody from Tamil Nadu they have joined. Somebody from the I think from MP they have joined. So this is across the India they are doing, and that is what we are into Alliance and the Foundation for Skill Development. So without the Foundation for Skill Development, we are not there. I also thankful to Lion Puneet Mehta, who has always with us for viewing this webinar and everything. So thanks to Puneet Mehta and thanks to entire team. I think the formal vote of thanks, I think Dilip Bhai Nathani is there, which is our joint secretary of Foundation for Skill Development. So I request Dilip Bhai Nathani to please give a formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Alok Bhai. In fact, the vote of thanks is already offered by Pradeep Bhai, but it is my pleasure to offer a vote of thanks to my dear friend Deepali MEHTA on behalf of the Lions Club of Falkeswar and Foundation Skill Development jointly with Lions Club of Corporate and Federation of Maharashtra Farm. I propose a heartily vote of thanks to Deepali Ben for excellent speech. The PPT was excellent, and the entire session started with the ITC that she took a proper care that no one should miss the any lacuna should not be there, else we are the person is losing the ITC. So about the ITC, what care has to be taken. Then the e-way bill, e-invoicing, everything is now interrelated, and ITC, which is the person gets the benefit only, and if the person is losing the ITC, is not losing on the capital front also, but the interest and penalty, and there are so many repercussions. And so enlightening all of us on this very important crux of the business. I propose a hearty vote of thanks on behalf of everyone, and I request all of you to carry on with loud applause. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deepali.
Thank you so much.
It was really very nice. It was really very nice, Deepali. Thank you so much.
Entire session was, yes,
was superb.
I think PPT and everything was very in a lucid manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks to all. We are leaving the session. Thank you, sir. Pradeep bhai. Anything else? Nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
nothing,
you, sir.
nothing, boss. Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot.
all.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you a lot. Bye bye. Thanks, Hiral. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, bhai. Thank you,
Thanks,
Alok
Jati.
bhai, for inviting us. Thank
Sir, you are always there in our heart, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for kind in this.
Thank you, Kuldeep bhai. Thank you, Kuldeep bhai.
Namaste, namaste, namaste.
Thank you so much.
Alok bhai.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Hanuman Rai. Thank you, sir. Thank you.